Here we go. Hey, welcome back to Fade the Mahoney. All right, it's just me and Jorgy today. At the time of this recording, the best wiffle ball player on the planet. Jorgy, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's a bold statement, but I feel better this year, hitting wise at least. Maybe not pitching, but
Well, again, at the time of this recording, there's a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet. But
correct.
after two slates, you were the highest scoring player on the planet in terms of the Fade the Mahoney fantasy leagues. Um, Slate three, I don't even remember, but
Yeah,
whatever.
a
Uh,
little less, but I think I did solid.
yeah. All right. We're in a bit of a tough spot, as you all watching this who've watched the last few or haven't, and the next few. We're in that weird spot where things are being played before other things are seen. So we're flying blind. Trevor couldn't make it, so just me and Jorgy, we're going to do our best. So before we get in the series, oh, wait, I don't know if I mentioned preview the Jorgies versus the Mallards. That's what we're previewing. Jorgy, you are
Yes,
wearing what looks to be a Moxie jersey. So you must be
correct.
getting ready to go, huh?
White Moxies. I'm probably leaving here in less than an hour, so
Look at that, everybody. We get them
ready to
right
go.
before the series is played
Yeah.
when we can. All right. I don't know what people have seen on the internet, on Discord, all over. There was a shot you weren't even playing in this series, right?
Uh, Possibly, yeah. So like you said, it's difficult talking about some of this stuff right now because we've already obviously played the Eagle series. We're about to play our last series, but none of the Slate Four is released at the time of us recording this and me going out to the Meadows. So the kind of like the trade talks would be kind of based around like I was always going to play that four series against the Eagles because if we win that series, um, we have a good chance of still getting in. Obviously, like we're still on the outside looking in, but I mean, my goal always and still is to like make the playoffs with this team. Like I like this team. I get to play with Chris and Jason. This is the team I got drafted by. It was never really anything personal. Obviously like Chris isn't having his best year at the plate. He's been pretty solid on the mound, but it almost feels like an outlier. Like he's not gonna have a season like that again. And it just unfortunate that it kind of lined up with like how good I've been hitting this year. So it was in talks only mostly because like I didn't get to play in the playoffs last year. I felt like I would be a valuable bat to someone that's trying to make a playoff push and maybe even like a second arm if I can figure stuff out. So it was like basically the trade talks would be just like so I could play in the playoffs. And I think like Chris and Jason understood that. They're like, if you want to play in the playoffs and we can get a good deal, then they were okay with that. So
Yeah. I mean, the long and the short of it is when you're the only good player on your team, it's really hard to make the playoffs. So you should
yeah, I
take
mean,
your talents to South Beach, like so many other people in your league have done before. Demand a trade.
yeah, I mean, I don't think I was ever demanding it. Like it felt a little different than what like Jason did last year. He kind of basically like before he even had talks. Well, I guess he kind of talked to us a little bit, but he was just kind of like, yeah, like he almost like requested a trade. I don't think I ever like requested one. It was more of like even like Chris and Jason were like, yeah, I mean, if we like are out of the playoffs and we can find a deal for you, we'll do that. And I'm like, okay, like obviously if we win this Eagle series, I want to stay here and try to make it with the Gators, but otherwise then I'd be okay to be on the move.
Gotcha. Boy, in that series against the Eagles, that was something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking Mallards. So at the time of this recording, pretty obvious Diamondbacks and Mallards are going to make the playoffs. Whatever happened with you and the Eagles, it is.
Yeah.
That the secret Discord groups that some of us are on, we were throwing out trade ideas and stuff like that. Do you have any specifics that you're able to share about where maybe you were thinking of going or could have went or anything
Yeah.
like that?
So I think the main I guess there's kind of four teams in the mix. The Cobras were a big team in the mix. I'd say the Eagles were pretty big too. And then there's also some logistical reasons that like some stuff can or can't work out and stuff like that, which I guess we can get into in a later date after the season or something. But and then the Magic were kind of like interested. I know I talked to like Trevor about it, which we originally thought they had our pick, but we forgot that like the or the Liam trade or something caused that
Yep.
to go to the Wildcats. So that kind of seemed less likely. And then the other team that I talked to a little bit would be the Preds, but we didn't know exactly how much they had to give up, like because they had like Longman, who would be a good piece, but like he obviously hasn't showed up, and I don't know if the Gators would want a guy that's not showing up for them because who knows what his schedule is going to look like in the future and stuff. And then they'd have their pick, but the whole like opt in opt out draft thing is also all confusing and stuff. So
Hmm.
everything's all confusing. But I'd say those were the four teams that were like somewhat in the mix, I guess.
All right. I'm going to throw out here uh, something that I had put together and thrown out into the universe, which I thought would have worked. And depending on what happens between now and then, I may just cut this out. But I had put together a team trade that I thought was pretty good. It was, God, it was so long ago. You were going to the Cobras. Cobras were sending Sawyer to the Mallards, and the Mallards were sending, I think, Hayden and whoever their new guy is, who's pretty good.
Preston.
Yeah, to the Gators. I thought that was a pretty good
Okay.
trade.
Yeah, honestly, there was like slight talks of a three-way trade, and like you're not completely far off, to be honest. So
Yeah.
like that what you said made sense. Like I mean it was just like something that one of the other managers kind of cooked up. It wasn't really discussed that much, but
Okay. Yeah. And then whatever draft picks had to be thrown in or something.
yeah.
Personally, I just thought Sawyer being TC3 and Jordan Robles all on your TV at one time would be pretty darn good.
It'd be interesting. I don't know
You,
how well that'd be kind of a weird fit for him though. Like I feel like well Jordan's like a hype guy, but I feel like Tom's like more of a calm guy and like I feel like no one like really hates the Mallards. Like they're all good people, and then you're kind of like inserting like a villain onto their team. So that'd be
Mhm.
interesting to see him on
Yeah,
that
it would
team.
be good TV, and that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about here.
Yeah, you're right.
Uh, yeah. Anyway, all right, let's get into this series. We're just going to do it really quick because there's so much we don't know. The one thing we do know, pretty good, pretty bad. So
You're
we
talking
got.
about the teams, not the players, right?
Oh, that's your jersey. So yeah, definitely just the team.
Okay.
Just the team. Say, go
Just
buy a
making sure.
Jorgy jersey, everybody. It might be your last
Uh,
chance to get a
I,
Gators.
these are my favorite. If I were to get one, I'd get these ones,
Yeah,
and
those
they're more expensive, but
yeah. All right. We've got the Mallards, the biggest favorite we've ever had on this show. They're minus 500. You got to
okay.
bet 500 to win 100 if you think they'll win at least two games in the series. So obviously, if you think the Gators can stop being who they are and win more than one game, you could get plus 500. Thoughts on that?
I mean, we just like I don't think we're the worst team. Like I don't think we're anywhere near to what the Magic were last year, like talent, skill wise. But we just don't win. So like, we just can't find ways to win. We'll have like a couple close losses. We'll maybe get a close win, and then maybe a game will fall apart or something. I don't know. We just like it's frustrating because like I know we're not like Chris. Like he's a better player than he's been. I feel like I'm a better pitcher than I've been. Jason's been solid, but like I think he could definitely do a little more. And then our four spot's been kind of shaky. So it's like, I don't know. And then I feel like we get in a situation where we can win the game and then we just don't. So I mean you could tell from that freaking stupid game too against the D-backs.
Oh, you're testing my brain. Oh, is that where they had the
The
completely baloney call where they
yeah,
called you out running
yeah.
to third?
So there was that, which like yeah, I thought that was baloney too. And I like even when it came out, like Trevor was like bottom Trevor, bottom not other Trevor, but he was like at first he was kind of like because he didn't see it, and then he like hear from me and Jimmy, we were golf one time. Trevor was like, I have to see it, and then he saw it. He's like, yeah, that was kind of BS. I was like, but then it was weird because when that happened, like I was like, okay, but like I didn't like want to get myself all fed up about it because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like anger myself right now when if Chris just goes and shuts it down, it doesn't even matter.
Mhm.
And then it very much mattered. So
Is
and then
that
that
where
last
it ended
game,
with
him missing the backstop.
That's gonna be a fair ball. Cheetam missed the backstop, and the tying run will score, and Sheba will score as well. That is a walk-off for the Diamondbacks.
Chris firing the ball
Yeah.
into the trees or something?
It's tough because like I wasn't even like mad or upset at him about that play. Like if I did that, like I would be like, oh, that's on me. But like he's just like not like he doesn't have that athleticism to like make that. Like obviously he still could have made it, but it's like I don't know. Like I feel like I don't exactly expect him to make it just because like I don't know. He's kind of stunted in that athleticism area. So
Title
I
of
don't know.
this
It's just
episode,
unfortunate.
Jorgy says Chris Cheetam is unathletic.
I mean,
Got it.
he'd say so himself. So
Got it. I mean, again, that was physical. It wasn't mental. He made the right play. He just didn't make
yeah,
the play, right?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I guess he could have held it to tie it up, but I think all of us wanted to just end it right there. They were all seeing him well. He got a ball that was check swung back to him, so I think you got to make that throw.
I don't know. Again, this is a long time ago. People may have forgotten. Maybe the editing department could drop it in here.
Shot up the middle to Norp. Chadwick will score. Beats it out at first and third. We are going to take a look here at runner interference, though, folks. All right, after review there, we have runner interference headed to third base on Jorgensen. That will be the third out of the inning. It is 2-0 Gators.
That was you and Jimmy Norp collided, right?
Yeah,
Was
that
the
was
play?
well. I don't know if I would say it collided. We at first they were like, yeah, I had to make like an effort to get out of the way, and I was like, if I didn't make an effort, I would have plowed him right over, which I didn't. I like you can see I stopped and kind of like sidestepped around him. Obviously, I was in the way, but like I don't know what else I was supposed to do. He was kind of like coming up towards me. So it's not like he was standing there and I just ran right to him. He kind of like ran into me as well.
From what I remember, he didn't complain. Did he complain at
He
any?
was so like they obviously cut a lot out because it was
Yeah.
just kind of like quick, oh, let's review this. Cause it was kind of confusing because like at first I did it and then Jimmy was kind of like, he's not one guy to well, I guess sometimes he can be, but he wasn't like screaming like, oh my gosh. He was just kind of like kind of looked at me. He's like, I don't like you were kind of in my way or whatever. I was like, I don't know what you want me to do or something.
Mhm.
And like he kind of just walked back. And then like Kyle didn't say anything. And then it was like Mr. Schultz that said like, oh, I think he like interfered. I was like,
What? That was who got
yeah,
involved? Was
yeah.
Mr.
He was
Schultz?
yeah, Mr. Schultz spoke up.
I'm Mark Schultz.
I've always hated the Gators and hope they only win 2 games this year.
Kyle was like, I think just gonna let it go. And then they like reviewed it. Even like Kyle after that was like, dude, I wish he's like, I guess it's the rules. Like I think it's kind of stupid too, but I guess it's the rules or something like that. That was
There's
weird.
a couple of things you can say about Jimmy Norp. One, he can get fired up, and two, he really, really wants to win.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything from his body language or
Yeah.
anything that they showed. So
Yeah.
again, probably doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things for you guys because you're so terrible. But it was
Maybe not.
surprising at the time that it happened.
There's little things like that. Like if we win that game, butterfly effect, we could have, I mean, obviously they're still a better team, but we might have been able to bring the confidence more into game three because we were pretty, like you could tell in that game three, I saw everyone saying like, oh my gosh, Jordan needs to control his anger, chucking the bat over the fence. It's like,
Yep.
dude, I was just like not having a good week before that to begin with. And then that happens. And then I was having really bad at bats in that third game. And I was kind of being hard on myself with that too. And then, chucking the bat.
Swing and a miss. He got him on strikes.
I think I saw a meme someone did with comparing the number of feet that your bat flew, the multiple times you threw it versus the balls you guys hit, or something like that. All right. Total, we've got here 14 and a half. It's really tough to make these totals when you don't know about motivation and so forth. So, Trevor, if you're watching, because you made this huge line, I am going to take the Gators in their last shot to win 2 games. I'll take the plus 500, and I'll also go over. So those will be the 2 bets that I have with Trevor. We actually spent way more time talking Major League Wiffle Ball than I thought we would. But for those of you who aren't aware, just about every week of the NFL season last year, Jorgy did a cameo on our preview episode with his lock of the week. Do you remember what you did on the year? You were smoking hot for a while, right?
I don't know my final record, but I was easily over 500.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many weeks I did, but I mean I was probably four, 5 over 500 or something like that. Like
There was a time where I think you had like 4 or 5 in a row,
yeah,
which for
yeah.
those of you who bet on the NFL, it's really, really tough to beat. So I just thought before we left, if you have a couple of teams that you like, maybe who you think will be in the Super Bowl, any kind of
Okay.
really brief NFL preview you'd like to do before we say goodbye, and you can go
Okay.
Mallards.
I don't want to go like straight Super Bowl preview because I feel like that might be too chalky. Maybe I'll give maybe like an underdog in the AFC and NFC that I think I could see making the Super Bowl or something like that.
That works for me. Lay it on me.
Okay. NFC mine would be Seattle. I
Okay.
think. I mean, not likely, wouldn't be my favorite, but like they were really good last year. Gino looked good. Obviously, he's gonna have to, be solid enough. Like if you can, Jimmy G can make the Super Bowl, so I don't see why Gino can't. Obviously, it's a different system, but they added JSN on offense, Charbonnet. But they got Bobby Wagner back too. So and I got Witherspoon, the corner, top 5 corner. So I think that they were really good last year and it's surprising, and they've only like made their team better. So I think they could definitely be a sneaky pick.
13-1. You can get 13-1 on them on DraftKings.
Okay.
We're not
Yeah.
sponsored. All right, and AFC.
It's tough because I feel like there's a lot of like favorites in the AFC. Maybe I'll go Miami if Tua can stay healthy. When Tua's playing, I think people still give him hate. I think he's still underrated. People are just like when he was playing, he was like borderline excellent last year. So if he stays healthy, that offense is going to work just like it did last year with Tyreek and Waddle. You had Jalen Ramsey, but he's out 6 weeks or something. But he'll be back eventually. The defense does concern me a little bit, but if their offense keeps scoring and Tua plays like he did when he was healthy last year, I think they can make it.
All right, they're 12-1. So
Tough division though. So
decent size. If you parlay those two to meet in the Super Bowl, you can get 181-1. So
yeah,
that's
I mean, I doubt they're both gonna happen, but maybe do 2 separate bets would be my
nice.
advice.
I don't know if we'll do it in this coming season, but anybody who's interested in the NFL, if Jorgy can't stop by from time to time, that's the sort of stuff you can expect from him. All right.
Yeah.
It is my understanding what we just talked about is the first series of Slate 5.
Yeah. I mean, St. Louis just finished up this weekend. So yep, first series.
So this will probably drop in what, 6 or 7 weeks, something like that.
6, I think.
Yep, 6 weeks.
All-Star game, the 4 Slate 4, and then it's 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, that's how far in advance we try to do this.
This is August 1st, so
some exciting stuff for those of you who've watched in the past. Everybody who I have a jersey of, except for one person, has been on the show. That person who didn't end up showing up, but I bought his jersey, I have been told is going to join us before the Vermont series. So exciting to look forward to that. Jorgy, thanks again for stopping by, and go get him today. All right, buddy.
All right, I'll try. I mean, you bet on me, so I got to do my best. Also, I'll add a quick tidbit here. Got a text from Chris in our group chat with like all the Gators and Tommy, and he said that I'm just giving you a heads up. This is the busiest day I've ever had at work in my life, so there's definitely a chance I'll be late in an outside one that I can't even make it. So I'll share that after you put your bet in.
After I bet. That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, will you have 4 players if he doesn't?
Yeah. Reese, Serlag, and Jason will be there.
Okay. All right. So
I assume even if maybe he'll miss like one game or something. I doubt he's just not there altogether. But
Chris Cheetam, not only unathletic, but might not necessarily be super dedicated to the team either. So
busy and unathletic.
All right, Jorgy, thanks again, and good gambling, everybody.
Real quick bonus content here. Slate 4 fantasy draft recap. Got to give credit where credit's due. Handsome Drew won for the first and probably last time ever. Ryan Cratch had a huge series, as we all know, led him to the victory. I came in second, crushing for me. I've never lost one of these, so it hurt. Mr. Irwin came in third, thanks to a huge series from Jordan Robles. Trevor came in fourth with no one doing anything at all. And G Money, DFL, nobody did nothing for him, last place. And additional bonus coverage, let's hear from Jorgy one more time.
All right, first pick of the year, we got the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. Usually I put more thought into it, but since my Detroit Lions are playing first game of the year, I mean, obviously a tough matchup, but I can't bring myself to go against them. I think it's didn't have time to look at the spread. I think it was like plus 4.5 the last time I looked. So whatever lines are, I'll take them. You gotta trust the boys. The whole Kelsey thing, whether or not he may or may not play, Chris Jones contract stuff, only helps out a little bit. But I think I'd be taking the Lions no matter what. So I'm not gonna hedge my excitement here. I'm just gonna go all in for the boys. So hopefully we get the first one right.